What's up, locals? It's Mike and Kenzie coming to you live from the 775. Now, before we get into this episode, we have one small request. Please be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen. Now, let's get into it. Baby, we are back.
We are back and tanner than ever.
Looking hot, looking burned ever so slightly. But we are going to start, as always, with failing forward.
Yes.
You have a failure, a shameful failure that you want to tell the world.
I do have a couple failures that happened in one experience. I recently just got my Nevada license after being a resident here for almost a year. And I had to go to the DMV to get my license, and I forgot what it was like to go to a DMV. And I just had a really interesting experience. I walk in and everything's all smooth sailing. It's very orderly. You know, you check in on your phone and then you just wait to be called. But you go into the Reno DMV and it's all brand new. It's very clean. It's very spacious. There's like a ton of seating right in the middle, and then everybody that you're...
It's like an airport terminal.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah. And...
Purgatory. You're just waiting to go to hell. Everybody's mad to be there.
Yeah, there was a lot of interesting characters. But as I was going to, find my seat, I see out of the corner of my eye a stack of cash just sitting on a chair. And the only people in that row was... like a dude that was just on his phone, like not really paying attention. And then there was a mom and a daughter, like not like super old or super young. Like the mom was probably 40s and the daughter was probably 20s. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. So I see it out of the corner of my eye. I just walk past, I go sit down. And I'm thinking to myself, like, is that money real? Mm-hmm. And two, should I take it?
Right. Seems like a setup. You're in broad daylight. It's public.
It feels like one of those gotcha moments.
Like a hidden camera moment.
Yes. And I was looking around frantically. I'm like, who has the freaking camera? Mm-hmm. And I'm staring across because I'm sitting across from the mom and the daughter. And I'm like, periodically making eye contact with them. And they seem very suspicious. They seem like
you probably seem suspicious. You're looking around. You're like, where's the camera? Should I take it? That's pretty suspicious.
Yes.
It's not your money.
Right. But specifically, the eye contact that I was getting from them, there was like a little bit of smirkiness to it. It was almost like they were waiting for me to make my move.
Like, are you going to take it?
Yeah. And I feel like they were, the daughter had her phone out in a way that it seemed like she would have been recording. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just sitting there, I'm waiting. And then it's like, 25 minutes until my number gets called. And so I'm like, okay, do I get up and like go to the bathroom to see if that stack of money is real? Like, how do I do this? So I get up, and there's like these pieces of paper that you're supposed to fill out if you're getting a new license. And so I go and I pick up a paper and I'm trying to look at it, and it looks fake from where I was standing. Mm-hmm. But I really should have just like went up and been like, is this your money? Mm-hmm. Like, is this your money? Is this your money? No? Okay, I'm going to take it. Like, the entire time I was sitting there, and I'm sitting there for 20, 25 minutes, and I'm just thinking to myself the entire time, I'm texting you, I'm like, there's this stack of cash that's just sitting there, and you're like, go over and look at it. And
there's nothing wrong with eyeballing.
I know, and there's also nothing wrong with being like, going there and like picking it up and seeing if it's real. Like, that's not a crime.
It's not, but it seems like a setup.
It felt very much like a setup. So anyway, all that to say, I didn't pick it up.
I don't think that's a failure. I feel like you passed the test.
Yeah, maybe I passed the test, but I didn't pick it up. I do my thing with my license, and then on my way back, I don't see the mom and the daughter, and I don't see the stack of cash anymore. Mm. And so I'm like, I feel like this was a setup. Mm-hmm. Like, it was very odd.
It would not look good for you to be online taking money at the DMV, just like, do.
Right. But anyway, yeah. So I don't know if that was a failure or not, but I didn't pick it up.
But you felt that
And
urge
part of me
inside.
was like, this could be like life-changing money right now. Like, what if that was like $20,000?
Hmm. Or it could be life-ending money. Because what if it is 20 grand and it doesn't
Right.
belong to you? And somebody goes, hey, you stole my 20 grand. And now
Yeah.
you're a bad person.
I don't know. Is it a crime? Is it a crime to just pick up money on the street? Like when someone sees like $10 on the ground or $20 on the ground, like I've definitely like picked that up and I'm like, oh wow, like
Thank you, universe.
yeah, thank you, universe.
Person who dropped this.
Right.
Yeah.
But then when you go into an establishment
Mhm.
and you see cash, like, do you take it to the person at the DMV, like anybody working there, and be like, I saw this?
And they probably pocket it because they don't get paid
Right.
enough.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Anyway, so I think moral of that failure is just go up, just ask people, is this your money?
Don't steal.
And don't steal, and
Yeah.
don't steal.
That's also a good one.
Yeah. The second failure, which is
We're still at the DMV.
yeah, we're still at the DMV because I'm walking out and I'm looking at the signs at the DMV, and there's this sign that says I actually have a photo of it. Let me just pull it up really quick. This sign that said, Tiffany and Crystal are real Nevadans. Their mom, Tracy, gave the gift of sight to 2 people as a cornea donor. And I read that and I literally thought someone is giving up the gift of sight from themselves to somebody else, like a person. Like I would not do that. I would not like intentionally go blind for somebody else. That's what I
see the
thought.
failure.
That's
Okay.
that's
All
what
right,
I thought
all right.
when I saw that. And it's like these 2 sisters, they look alive, right? And so
Yeah.
I'm just thinking like
They're real Nevadans.
like
unlike
they're
their dead
yeah, they're
mom.
real Nevadans. And so I texted that photo to a friend,
Mhm.
and I was like, the Reno DMV is getting crazy. Like I was like,
Plus your eyeballs.
I was like, holy shit! What has the
Nevada
world?
are you?
Yeah, how Nevada are you? Are you gonna give up the gift of sight? Oh my gosh. Anyway, so yeah, he obviously replied, he's like, ha ha ha, like, you're dumb. And I was like, wait, what? And he was like, you're donating it.
What
Anyway.
a weird sign. Like, these 2 lovely girls, their dead mom gave up her eyes so that another Nevadan can see. So let's celebrate these girls for their mom's death.
Yeah.
Like, that's a very odd sign.
It was just a weird sign.
Yeah. You definitely done goofed on that one, though.
Yeah.
That's
So anyway, that was my 2 failures
Nice.
and experience at the Reno DMV.
Nice. Well, a couple weeks back, we went camping with Maverick for the first time. That
Yep.
was super cute. And we went with a bunch of our friends, and they all have black labs too, but they're like 4 or 5 months old. Maverick's 3.
They were 8 months old.
Okay, doesn't matter because they're still puppies and they're
Yes.
lanky and awkward and skinny.
Yes.
And Maverick is not.
Right.
They're calling him fat. He was stepping on people's feet on accident. They're like, "Oh, you're fat fucking dog!" Like, like they were just bullying him the whole weekend.
I was so offended. I was so
You
offended.
took it personally.
I took it personally because I think when someone's calling your dog fat,
Mhm.
it immediately translates to the owner not taking care of their dog. And I was feeling very insecure about that. And I'm like, yeah, he is a little husky, but he's also almost 4 years old.
But he's a black lab.
And
he's
he's
just a little husky.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like he might be a little chunk-a-monk, but like,
He's our chunk-a-monk. and we
Yeah.
love him. Well, he's not that fat. He is like half English, half American.
yeah.
English labs look like fat American dogs. Like they're just sturdier, shorter legs, little waddly, real thick in the middle. And Maverick has some of those traits, but he's not an American lab when you look at him side by side. So we sent him away to puppy boarding school when we were in Maui for like 9 days, and he came back and he was a skinnier dog.
Yes.
He lost those big booty cheeks that I love to honk and snuggle.
Yes. He
So-
basically went to fat kid camp.
Yeah, he came back from fat camp and he was skinnier. So moral of the story is we need to exercise our dog more.
Yeah. But I think to give context, like at that place, they're literally playing all day. It's not that they're not feeding him. That place actually I really love compared to all the other
Let's
places.
give them a shout out. Shout out to Animal Oasis for taking great care of our boy.
Yes.
Like, we will definitely be taking him back.
Yeah,
They
we've
took
taken
awesome care of him.
we've taken Maverick to 2 other boarding places, and he has come back with the most attitude.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally seemed like he wasn't getting fed, he wasn't getting the love and attention that he needed. This place, we did have to take him to kind of like it's like a day where they test him out.
It's a behavioral test
Yeah.
to see, like, are you going to bite other dogs or
Right.
people? You're
So
going to be a little asshole. And he got, like, amazing reviews. He's a
Yes.
fantastic dog. They're
No,
like,
he's
welcome anytime.
Yeah.
Like, we're good parents. We just,
Yes.
you know, we have a little fat kid that we don't run as much as we should.
Right.
In all fairness, he's a lazy fucking dog, too.
Yeah.
He loves to snuggle on the couch and sleep most of the day.
Yes.
So,
He's a little homebody. I wonder though, like, do parents that have human children,
look at fat kids and go, oh, man.
like, do they look at other parents of like, you're not doing a good job parenting?
Or are those other parents fat?
Well, I don't know.
Because I know I judge. If I see fat parents with a little fat kid, I'm like, that kid is unfortunately not on a good path.
Yeah.
They're on the path to type 2 diabetes. Because type 1 walks in their family already. But yeah. Let's move forward, shall we?
We've failed forward. We need to read signs a little more, a little better, and we need to exercise our dog a little bit more. But
Well, speaking of signs, what the fuck is up with Reno's billboards?
oh my gosh. I have been wanting to talk about this for a while because I feel like if anyone that knows Reno, you know that when you're driving in, the first thing you see is billboards.
Mm-hmm.
And usually the billboards are talking about the sex stores and
I remember when we first moved, like, in the area,
yeah.
like, the first 2 billboards right when you get into, like, the Reno city limits was, you don't know what's in your pills. And it was
Yes.
like a anti-fentanyl beware
Mm-hmm.
to all the Reno people, which is like, that already gives you an idea of the population. It's like, you don't know what's in your fake pills, don't take them. And then the other one was like, crazy, sexy, hot.
Yes,
Like-
crazy, sexy, hot.
Dildos next, right? Come on in.
Right.
Like, those were the billboards. And we got a new mayor, and she was like, this is making our town look bad. Like, it was kind of like a South Park moment.
Yeah.
So they swapped them for like casino billboards of, look at how wonderful our 5-star casino is.
Yeah. Spa day every day.
Yeah. So they swapped those, but we have some goofy ones. Like, the amount of personal injury attorney, like, there's so many along the freeway, and there's so many accidents all the time.
Yeah.
And
A lot of lawyers. A lot of lawyers.
lot of lawyers. I think that we have like a really high retirement population. Like, Reno has a lot of elderly, and they're probably on pills too. So when they're driving, they ram into somebody. It's like, are you injured? Call Lob, right? Like, you see those. I bet they're probably capitalizing on pilled out senior citizens that are like, I could get $1 for this. Oh, my chest hurts. Might get my hip replaced. This is perfect.
Well, the billboards are in the perfect place of where most of the accidents happen, like right near the spaghetti bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Like most of our accidents are right there,
Yeah.
and it just blocks traffic
Forever.
for hours. The specific billboard that I want to talk about is the suggestive billboard of a specific lawyer that I will not name, but it is public and you can
We don't
go
wanna
in.
get sued
I don't want to get sued by this lawyer.
for talking
but-
shit.
But it is a public display in downtown, and she is in a very suggestive, sexy position with a blouse.
Let's describe it for the people that are listening. Silk blouse, big boobs, arm up on the doorway like, oh, you're home, welcome back. And that's your lawyer.
Yeah.
That's what you're advertising. What are you trying to
Like, what are you trying to say here? Like that, honestly, I don't really understand what is she a divorce lawyer? Is she?
Are you injured and horny?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's bad. But there's a lot of billboards that you look at and you're like, what are you guys trying to say? Because what you're actually selling, this seems very sexual. And like, are you going to seduce the judge? Is that how you win my case? I don't really know what her angle on that was, but it looked like she updated her photo. But it's the same position, same blouse.
Okay, I just looked her up. She is a family law and divorce lawyer.
I can understand the
That
divorce.
totally
lawyer.
makes sense.
Do you want to piss off your ex-wife? Hire me.
Yes.
I'm a hot young lawyer and we're going to win.
I just don't understand it. Like you go to her website and she looks very like it's these poses. It's just these like, it's like model poses.
She is modeling by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Like, are you getting a divorce? Call me. I'll be there.
That is just crazy.
Good
That
advertising, though.
it
'cause
is.
We're talking about her. She's
I
on
mean,
our minds.
Yeah, if you go into downtown, I think she's is she off of California Street?
I think it's California and Sierra.
Yeah, California and Sierra. She's there. You'll see her and you'll wonder.
I also I think it's Joey Gilbert. So he ran for mayor and lost.
Oh.
But he's also in the airport, and he's got both knuckles up with like a pinky ring and a UNR ring on.
Yes.
You don't want us against you. Like, retain us.
Right.
And it's this big, it's a threat, basically. We're so good at law. Law.
Law.
Yeah.
We're so good at the law.
You don't want us going against you, so retain us. Like, it's such a weird, it looks like he should be on a motorcycle, but he's got double knucks up because he's fighting for you.
Yeah, they all look really tough. There was another thing that I noticed is most of the billboards have people's faces on it.
Yeah, it's more trustworthy. If you just saw,
Is it?
If you just saw law firm and then a phone number, what kind of law? Like, is it sexy law? Is it injury law? Who am I calling?
But sometimes I feel like the faces turn me off. Like, I don't want to
They don't
call
turn me
because
off.
like, sometimes when I see the faces, like, I am judging. Like, I don't mean to judge, but I am just naturally judging. I'm like, this is just so funny. Like, I'm not going to call you.
There's when you get off of 395 southbound, like you're going towards Trader Joe's, there are these two, I don't know if they're brothers or cousins, but one is like the hot cousin and the other one is just tagging along. And neither of them look like they'll win a case for you.
Yeah.
But I just crack up every time I see, because it's like, oh, I got to bring my cousin to the photo shoot today. And neither of those guys look trustworthy. They look like used car salesmen for lawyers.
Yeah.
So I would not retain them.
No. I do wonder, though, like, do these billboards have an effect on people?
How so?
Well, I wonder, like, have you ever made a decision based off of a billboard?
I've wondered what's in my pills.
Well, I think for me, like, the only time I've actually made a decision, like, based off a billboard is seeing, like, an In-N-Out billboard.
Food, here. Go.
I'm not joking. Like, when you're driving for so long and then you see, like, an In-N-Out billboard, it's like, fuck yeah. And then you're going to get off and whatever eat.
That's how I feel about the casinos. I'm back in Reno, baby. Let's go.
But I feel like I just haven't made a decision based off of a billboard. So it's really just more for, like, the brand awareness.
Mm-hmm.
It's just interesting because when I was working in real estate, a lot of the agents that I worked with wanted to be on billboards.
Mhm.
And I was thinking, I'm like, is it because you want your face on there and you want like your clients that you're already working with to see you and be like, oh, she's legit or he's legit. They have their own like they're putting money into advertising. Like, we want to work with somebody like that because they're going to put money into marketing our house.
That's one way of thinking about it.
Yeah, that's one way. But I don't know. I just don't know if it's worth it. I was looking up because the people that are advertising in Reno, like all the billboards, they're called Lamar Advertising, and they're in the Reno Tahoe airport too. They have billboards that run for 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking up the 2 lawyer billboards in downtown, the suggestive, sexy lawyer lady, and then the other lawyer dude that was right behind her. I looked up the 2 different price points and impressions.
Mm-hmm.
So they both cost the same. They're $1,250 for 4 weeks.
Okay.
And the guy lawyer that's right behind her, he gets about 37,000 impressions a week. She gets about 108,000 impressions. Like,
I
where
wonder
her
why.
No, not her specific billboard. I'm just saying the placement, like the location of it
right.
gets.
For sure. That's exactly what I was thinking. Not capturing anybody else's attention from like
Right.
sexually suggestive poses or a silk blouse to
Yeah.
be a lawyer. I don't know. Certain things.
But they're right next to each other, and I find it interesting that one billboard that's literally probably like, I don't know, 50 feet from each other gets 60,000 more impressions.
Well, you have like a hot Fox News lady as a lawyer on one.
No,
And
the
then some-
location. I'm not talking about her
I'm saying
specific
you have like a
billboard.
PUD of a man behind her who's just like, I'll represent you. Like, I know who I'm calling.
I found it interesting. And then the billboards that are right off of is it 395?
Mhm.
Yeah. Like as you're passing Walmart and the GSR, those go for 5,000
That makes
for
sense.
4 weeks, and they're getting about 470,000 impressions
Well,
a
yeah,
week.
it's basically the whole population of Reno and Sparks
Right.
put together because you have to go down that corridor for just about anything.
Yeah.
And people get stuck in gridlock traffic there all the time.
Right.
So you're just looking at that face, and someone rams into the back of you. You've got an injury attorney ready to go.
I have to say though, the GSR does amazing with advertising. I love that they have that digital billboard built into the hotel. Like I look at it every single time. I always know what's going on, all their events.
Mhm.
Like I think if you could advertise at the GSR,
You should.
you should. I don't think that they do for anything that's outside of the casino, but I think that the GSR is doing great work with that. But are billboards effective? Like truly, if you were to do advertising, do you think billboards would be effective?
I think just the visual presentation of being in somebody's mind every single day you're passing by, you see that billboard, you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
Like you can laugh about it. But when it comes time to make that call, are you injured and horny? You know who you're going to call. Divorce lawyer.
Oh my gosh.
I've been personally injured by my ex-wife. All right. Moving on to our next topic. We just finished one of the best shows that I have seen since Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Succession on HBO Max. HBO is knocking it out of the park. I would love to do a deal with them. But it is so fucking good. It's like a tragic comedy. Will Ferrell's an executive producer. It's all about like this billionaire family. Kind of like if Fox News ran the world is basically what it is. And they own all these different like media corporations. And everybody's stabbing each other in the back so that they can become CEO when their father dies.
Yes.
That's like the whole plot. And I'm not going to ruin it for anybody. But I highly recommend watching it. And we just finished it. And it's
I think we're late to the game, to be completely honest on it. I think that most people have watched Succession at this point,
if
but
you haven't, you should.
if you haven't, it's a great one.
And it's about like the lives of the 1%. So they're taking private jets everywhere. You know, son's got a drug habit. Like one son is hopeless in love. I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe. The daughter always gets screwed out of everything.
Yeah.
So it's very entertaining and like they just build all the characters really well. But I want to know if you were in the 1%, how would you keep your kids from being like those spoiled brats or fucking up all your billions of dollars? Because that's part of the show too. I'm wondering. I'm thinking about it. Because like if we had billions, for example, and we're looking at our kids and we're getting ready to retire, and we hand over this media empire to them, you give them the keys, and you don't trust any of them to actually operate it, but it looks so bad if you give it to somebody else. Like I'm trying to. We don't have to do billions. All right, we can reduce it down to millions, make it more realistic and tangible. How do you make sure that that money stays within the family and doesn't get spent in one generation? Because that happens so frequently. You know, one parent makes a shitload of money, gives it to their kids lose it, and basically grandkids start over from square one.
Well, I feel like a trust would have to be mandatory if you didn't want your millions to just go away within a generation. Like there would obviously have to be some kind of regulation around how much is being dispersed and like who's going to be getting it and how much. Yeah, like how much it. I don't really know because I'm not in that position, but I would think if I didn't want my kids to be spoiled, I would actually have them be in like positions and actually work, because I think in the show they weren't really working. Like literally the pattern was none of them really had the experience for the most part.
Yeah.
That kept getting brought up and I was like, what experience do they need exactly to
I've been
like
around billions of dollars all my life.
Right.
Please, Daddy, it's mine.
Yeah, I feel like working in general is what you should do to earn money, to understand the value of a dollar. But to not get spoiled with it, I don't know. I mean, do you become spoiled even when you do earn all of your money? Like, does your mindset change? Like, if you came from nothing, you came from nothing, you had to work for everything, and then you have millions and billions of dollars, do you get into like a spoiled mindset and you almost like forget what it's like to not have money? And so then when you're raising children, and you're in this mindset and you're giving them the life that maybe you never had. I just wonder, like, I don't know, is it even possible to not be spoiled when you have that much money?
I think you're giving the kids a life that they would never have without it, and that will spoil them inevitably.
Yeah.
But they've got to have some kind of action, some kind of like involvement in charity and giving back to people and like working, like you're talking about. Shaquille O'Neal, he made millions in basketball, and then all of his other side deals, he's worth a shitload of money.
Hmm.
He's giving $0 to his kids. He's like, I made all this money. I'm going to live. I'm going to enjoy it. You've had a wonderful life. Figure your shit out.
Well, that's what happened in the show too. Is Logan Roy, who's the dad,
Oh, he tried to cut him out.
he basically was trying to cut out his kids. Spoiler alert. But he basically was like, I am the one that built this. Like, this is my money. I can
Go
do
build
whatever.
your own.
Like, even if I die and I don't give you anything, like, it's my money. I can do whatever I want with it. Go figure it out.
Yeah, you've been around all this
Yeah.
before. Go build your own.
Yeah. I think as like a child, I mean, obviously, I think you would be kind of probably having some resentment. Like, what the fuck?
You would probably be counting your chickens. Like you've got eggs. There's eggs in the
Yeah.
bank account. You're like, these are going to hatch and be mine one day. And then you get all the way to that hatching point and you find out you have 0. And you're like, fuck, I didn't get any skills. Oh no.
Yeah.
If you were anticipating receiving millions of dollars and you find out that you've been cut out of the will and you're getting nothing, how do you react to that?
Well, what did I do to get cut out?
Daddy built everything. And he said, you can build your own. Like, this is my money. I'm going to spend it how I want. Go get your own.
Did daddy give me like any kind of guidance to have experience and work ethic, or did he just let me do whatever the fuck I wanted?
Daddy was too busy making millions and billions of dollars. So,
I mean, I think I would be scared. Like, I think like that's probably my initial reaction is because I don't if I didn't have experience and I was literally spoiled, I had all of these vacations, like I always thought, "Oh, I don't need to work because I'm literally going to be inherited this money." Like if that was my mindset and I had no experience and I knew I was getting cut out of the will, I would be freaking out. I would be freaking out.
I'd be upset to have to be a normie. Go work a job, go earn money. That would really break me a little bit. Because if you've been handed everything your whole life and you expect to not have to work and just kind of usher into that
Yeah.
lifestyle, and then right up until that ticking point, now you actually have to be a functional adult in society, and you're like, I didn't learn any of these valuable skills or like work ethic or anything. That's terrifying because you've tasted the sweetest cream, the top 1%.
Hmm.
You got a flavor of the rich lifestyle.
But I almost wonder, would that motivate you more then to like obtain
Mhm.
or retain?
Obtain, because you're not retaining anything if you're not getting it.
So then would that make you more motivated to obtain that lifestyle and you would work hard? I mean, here's the other thing is like if you have had all of those experiences and tastes and vacations and
I have a palate
lifestyle,
for
whatever.
caviar.
Yeah, if you have had those experiences, I think then in tandem, you've probably also rubbed elbows with a lot of really wealthy people
Mhm.
and you've networked with a lot of really wealthy people that could get you to where you want to be to make money. Like I don't ever think that you would necessarily be poor because of your connection and your connection to your family member, whoever is making this money.
Mhm.
Parent.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. It's in my mindset. If we were to have kids, I would not want to like give away millions of dollars to them for nothing. I want them to like hit specific like milestones that unlock money in a trust. So I think that they need to know what they're doing with that money before you just give it to them. Otherwise, they'll burn through it so quickly.
So if your parents had millions of dollars, you would want them to give you basically like
Checkpoints.
checkpoints
Yeah.
until you get your money.
Yeah, I think that that's the stick and the carrot that keeps you moving. Otherwise, you sit back, you get fat and sassy, you turn into Maverick.
You think you would get you think you would get fat and sassy though? Like
I was
you
expecting millions, and then suddenly it drops this bomb on me. Yeah, but I feel like the checkpoints, that's something that's probably already understood.
yeah.
Like, I want you to go to college. I want you to go on a trip and like serve in India or do something
Mm.
valuable. contribute to society.
Yeah.
And when you check these boxes, congratulations,
Then
your
you
trust is
can-
unlocked. Now you can
Yeah,
spend
that's
the
an
money how you
interesting
want.
take.
Yeah. As a parent, you really do want to give your kids the tools to make that again. I think that's the most important thing. If you don't pass on the knowledge of how to accumulate wealth and keep it, it will be lost regardless.
Yeah. I just think it's important to work because when you're not working, you have so much time on your hands. And I think when you have that much time, you have that much time to worry about things and to create problems out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you should always be having goals to work towards. Like I notice even with myself, like if I have a little too much time, I start to go into this weird kind of depression state. And I don't know if that's feeling like I just need to do something all the time. I don't know if that's the American culture or like whatever it is, but it feels like when I have too much time on my hands, like I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like I just need to be I need to be working towards something. Like even sometimes like vacation can feel like that. Like if you're obviously vacation is great and it's a luxury and it's like a privilege to do that as well in a way. But I think that even on vacation sometimes I feel like, oh man, this is
Should be
this
doing
is
something.
yeah, like this is a lot of days to just do nothing.
Yeah, I think that it's very important for you to occupy your time with something that matters to you.
Yeah.
Every day, do 2 or 3 things that they bring you some form of joy, because otherwise you're just grinding. You're just doing usually shit you don't want to, and it becomes monotonous and it just wears you down like on the soul level. And then at that point, you start fixating on all of the menial things in life, and you get into that depressive state, and you start to fall off the rails because you're so fixated on yourself and what's wrong that you're not working towards anything. You're just trying to fix whatever damage there is. And sometimes you have to ignore that and just keep moving forward.
Yeah. Another thought that we had with Succession, because there's super wealthy people out in the world, and it seems like most of them are either living in New York, maybe LA, Miami, DC. And since we're from the Reno Tahoe area, we were wondering, what is the 1% doing here specifically, if they are here?
I think they hide their money in Incline because you don't have income tax in Nevada, and then they go to Vegas. I think those are your 2 spots if you're in like the super uber wealthy.
Yeah, I actually do think a lot of people are in Vegas now that
Yeah,
now that I'm
Dana
thinking
White,
about
a
it.
couple other people. Like if it's a great place to have billions of dollars because
Yeah.
you're not getting taxed on it like California. Reno doesn't make sense to have a shitload of money and hang out in just because you're like, I could do so much more.
But there's like really nice estates here.
Mhm.
And
Multi-million
sometimes
dollar
like when
estates.
we're going into Old Southwest Reno,
Mhm.
I'm like, if I had money, like I feel like I would buy this house. Like I would want to have
Like
a house here.
A cliffside estate that you
Yes.
can look over the beautiful Dust Bowl of Reno and go, wow, everything the light touches is mine. That's what it looks like. It looks like a great place to like be naked on your balcony and have a cup of coffee. And you're so
Yeah.
far from your neighbors that they're not going to really see what's going on. So you're not worried.
Yeah, I just feel like there are some really nice houses here.
Mm-hmm.
And people obviously live in them. People, but I wonder, is it people that grew up in Reno? Like, is
Probably
it,
not.
you don't think so?
No, I think they made money elsewhere, came here to protect that money, and bought a nice house. I don't know for a fact. I'm just speculating.
Yeah.
But if I grew up in Reno and I made a shitload of money to buy this beautiful house in Reno, I'd probably buy it elsewhere,
Yeah, that's true.
even though I love Reno.
Yeah, I feel like if you want to see a millionaire casually,
Mm-hmm.
you want to go to Incline.
They're walking around with the normies because everybody's like, I love Tahoe. They're like, I love it more.
And there's not necessarily a lot of like elite places in Tahoe. It's like everything's pretty public.
Oh, there's
Like
a $60
everyone-
million home that sold on the
Well,
lake.
besides the actual homes, I'm just saying that like the places to eat, the places to like boat
Mhm.
and like go do shit, very little.
Do you
So it's
think-
like you're gonna probably run into someone somewhere locally.
I feel like when you have big money access, you probably know about restaurants and other places that are kind of secluded for those people.
Probably.
I feel like they don't like to be among the normies where there's like drunk Rocco at the bar, like, "What's up, bro? I'm Rocco. Came in from Sacramento. What's up?" like,
Yeah.
like I wouldn't want to be bothered by that guy while I'm enjoying my nice gin and tonic with my third wife.
Well, they probably don't even leave their house. Like some of the houses in Tahoe, they have their own sauna.
Mhm.
They have their own pool, indoor pool.
Why not have a private chef?
Yeah. Like, I feel like they have everything that they need at their estate, if you will, that they really wouldn't ever need to leave.
You said that with a little salt. Their estate. Are you let's talk about this honestly for a moment. When you see those things, do you get jealous? Like that lifestyle, does that make you envious at all?
Sometimes, I mean, if I'm just going off the top of my head, sometimes I feel like, why isn't it me?
Why, God?
Like Roman.
Yes.
Why isn't it me?
Shouldn't it be me, Daddy?
I I mean, no, that's probably not the right mindset to be in. But sometimes I think I'm like, how? Like how do they do that? Like is it old money or is it new money? Like new money is obviously coming from the tech world
Hmm.
and you have all these like tech billionaires and people that are just making a shitload of money,
I
not
think
doing too much,
I think the West Coast is predominantly like new
like new
money
money.
tech
Yeah.
or entertainment. And then the East Coast you have politics and finance. Like those are our hubs of
Yeah.
money, right? And on the East Coast they have old money where it's like my granddaddy had billions
Mhm.
and we turned it into more billions.
The elite is just such a concept to me. Like it feels like a lifestyle that I just won't ever be able to experience.
Hmm.
But then I literally try to like close my eyes and I imagine myself if I was part of like that kind of family or part or had that kind of money and I'm like what experience would necessarily be different than what I could experience with the money that I have now?
I think when you're in the elite like that, you know how the Amish have Rumspringa? You know what that is?
No.
So Amish communities, when kids turn, I think 17 or 18, they're given like a summer to go out into the real world and do whatever you want because they don't do drugs, they don't do alcohol, no electricity. Go be free, test out the real world. If you want, come back, and you're turning your back to that life.
Mhm.
So some people go on Rumspringa and never come back, and they grew up Amish and now they're like adapting to normal society. I feel like for the uber wealthy, they have their kids do a reverse Rumspringa, but they still go into like the normie lifestyle. Like, how fun would it be to just go to a dive bar tonight? Let's go rub elbows with Rocco.
Right.
I want to go talk with Rocco and hang out with him tonight. Let's
Yeah.
see what he's doing. Like, that's what I imagine is fun because you're probably so buttoned up all the time. You're around like posh individuals. They probably have parties where no phones are allowed. Like,
Mhm.
you have to sign NDAs everywhere instead of just like, oh, I was hanging out with this dipshit earlier. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know. That's what I imagine.
Yeah, the more I think about it, if I like was part of the uber wealthy, like they're taking, their jets everywhere,
That
I'm
sounds
still
sweet.
sitting in economy
Hmm.
and I wish I could be in first class. But the thing is I can. It's just my money would go away faster.
Hmm.
And so you do those type of things to, just get by.
You can charter you can charter a semi-private jet to Vegas for like $500. It's like you and a dozen people.
Yeah.
So it's easier in and out of the airport.
But don't comedians do that where it's like comedians are making a shit ton of money, but they almost become like less funny because they're not really integrated in the real world where their audience is mostly like the normie people.
And you get disconnected.
Yeah, you get disconnected a little bit.
Hmm.
And so they purposely will take like an economy flight and
Yeah.
they'll purposely go to the airport to be surrounded by other people or they'll purposely walk down the streets of Reno.
Hmm. Jerry Seinfeld.
Yes.
Just to get some observations and kind of rub elbows with the
Right.
community and be like, okay, I understand the common man's plight.
But to be so disconnected, like that is it's just interesting to me.
I don't think you ever want to be disconnected to the common people, especially in comedy. Like, you want to be relatable.
Yeah.
You can't just flaunt, like, I have two Rolexes, bitches.
Right.
I can tell time on both sides. Like, that's unnecessary.
Yeah.
It stops being funny at some point and starts becoming rubbing it in your face. But then there is a point where you're probably lying a little bit about, oh, I have these common issues too, you know?
Do you think that having a lot of money makes you a more interesting person or makes you like more because I feel like there's a lot of people out there that don't desire having a lot of money that are really interesting people and really genuine people, really fun to be around.
Hmm.
But I almost feel like there's this desire and this like fantasy when you go on social media and you see all the uber rich like posting about their lifestyle, even people that are not uber rich posting a rich lifestyle.
Yeah, they're renting these nice Bugattis
Yeah, and
and
it's
fake jets and
right.
everything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that it's like what is that? Like what is the desire of that? Why do we want that?
I think it's separated in categories. Like there's 100 millionaires that have no desire to get more money. They've reached the pinnacle. Now they're just checking their bucket list. They're having fun. And then there's billionaires that are super money hungry where it's never enough. So it's you're in competition with your peers of like, how can I outdo this person and make more money than them and have more like influence and influence different things in elections or media or whatever it is, right? That becomes a power game. It's no
Right.
longer about the actual dollar amount. It's about how much change can I enact because I have wealth.
See,
think
I don't desire power at all.
Lame. I don't say I desire power, but I think having power would be interesting. Like if you had the influence of who gets elected in this cycle, that would be crazy. You get to choose. Not saying that one person gets to choose, but I think it's a handful of people who get to choose.
Right.
They're like, this would really benefit tech if we have Sleepy Joe back in there, that corpse for 4 more years.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Okay. Well, I think that we can move on from our
wealthy neighbors to our poorer neighbors.
Yes.
Let's talk about neighbors, Reno versus Truckee.
Yes. And the reason we want to bring this up is because we noticed an immediate culture change when we moved to Reno. And now being here for almost a year from Truckee, we just noticed an immediate difference just in our neighbors, just the people that we share walls with.
Well, let's give some context. So in Truckee, we lived there for 3 years in low-income housing. That's a very important.
I don't know if it was low-income housing.
It's called low-income housing.
It's called low-income housing, but it was still extremely expensive to live there.
Right. But the low-income housing aspect was reflected in the people that we called neighbors there.
Yes.
A lot of alcoholics. One of my personal favorites was Gordon the Liar, because he would just have a new story and like his backstory would change every time I talked to him. It's as if we didn't have a conversation about, oh, where are you from?
Right.
And then he would somehow try and relate it back to, oh, I'm from there too.
Yeah.
And it's like, weren't you from Santa Cruz?
Yes.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then he talked about like, because he was a musician of some sort. He had musical instruments. I never really saw him playing them. But he was like, yeah, he was talking about like how he jammed with Iron Maiden and all those dudes are like 80.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way he's like our age. Just, there's a lot of weird lies that you could Google and immediately tease out. I think he was just a pathological liar. And then the other neighbors that we had where there was like a lot of alcoholics, a lot of like, I could have been a pro, like ski bums.
Yep.
And everybody just wants to tell you their life story.
The amount of long conversations that I could not get out of. I already can't get out of a long conversation. But though, like, that was what I was most excited for moving, was to just not be locked in to a conversational prison. That's what it felt like.
One-sided conversational prison. They weren't asking about you.
No.
It was, let me tell you my sob story.
There was no question to be asked. It's like you go outside to take Maverick out, and then, you know, you're trying to dodge people left and right. I'm putting up my hoodie, and literally,
Don't talk to me.
literally, I would, without a doubt, get stuck into a conversation every single time with someone for at least 30 minutes to an hour outside.
We also made really cool friends with some of our neighbors.
Oh, yeah.
You
No,
can't bash
I'm
all of them.
not. Yeah,
There's some
I'm
cool
not
people there.
bashing on all of them. But I'm just saying, moving to Reno, to kind of bring it back, moving to Reno, we came here and immediately nobody really wants to talk to us. Everyone just does their own thing. We're kind of surrounded just by like
Seems like-
normal people a little bit.
For the most part, it's a lot of young people kind of getting their lives together in a
Yeah.
similar position where it's like, oh, I'm trying to buy a house. And
Right.
I work a job.
Yes.
I'm not an alcoholic liar.
Right.
Or if I am, you don't know about it.
Right.
Like they're not so public about that information.
Yeah. Another thing I noticed too is like a lot of people needed jobs there. Like in like in that specific apartment complex, like you would run into people and you're like, I literally saw you this morning and now I'm seeing you 3 hours later, just like laying in the grass, being high. And now I'm seeing you 2 hours later on the hammock drinking. And you're like, do these people work? How did these people get into the complex? Like, I don't understand.
Low income housing.
Clearly.
Subsidized. And we
It
paid
was
the full price.
Yeah, it was just interesting. And that's obviously not all of Truckee at all. That was literally a subset of Truckee.
The poors.
Yes.
We lived
But it
among the
was just really
poors.
interesting to move to Reno, and our neighbors are not like that at all.
No, they're pretty cool. I only have beef with one person. And it's because she clearly has some kind of mental health issues going on. And she's terrified of Maverick. So when I'm walking him, she freaks the fuck out and is like, he's going to bite me, and runs up the stairs.
Yeah.
And Maverick doesn't react well to that and starts woofing and acting aggressive.
Yeah.
It looks terrible, but he would never bite her. But she's not friendly. I say hi and make eye contact every time. Sometimes I feel like she's going to hit me with a rock behind when I walk by, like just to the back of the head. And I'll be out. That'll be the end of Mike. So bringing it all back into Truckee, we went and visited some of our friends that we made as neighbors over in Truckee. Same apartment complex, went by just to have wine and cheese night and go dance, have dinner. And there were new people that lived in the building, a lot of different new people. And I went, holy shit, I am so glad I don't live here anymore.
Well, we're hanging out with our friends on their patio. They're on the first floor, and their neighbor to the right of them literally comes out and starts chatting us up, literally did not invite her over to the patio. And if this was somebody's house, like if we imagine an apartment like a house where you have property lines, she was crossing them. She was crossing the boundary. She came over
barefoot, walking
barefoot with her puppy, and she's like asking for bottles of wine, if she can do a trade with IPA beer. Like,
yeah, she's got 2 IPAs in her hand. She's like, do you have any wine? I'm all out.
right.
And it was as if like she was going to start getting the shakes if she didn't get wine.
Yeah.
Please, I'll trade you these beers.
And our friends are telling us that she like just got out of rehab or something. I don't know, some crazy shit. But it literally just made me think, when we were living in Truckee, like honestly, that specific complex is what made I was going crazy there. Like I wanted to move out because it just felt so confiding, or sorry, not confined. It's it felt so confined there. And going back to visit, I was just like, thank goodness we moved to Reno, because once we moved to Reno, none of our neighbors really talk to us. Like we don't get conversationally hostage by other people.
Sometimes. But
yeah,
it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not as bad. Like I think that obviously you're going to meet those people that hold you conversationally hostage, but I think in general we just have our space. No one really like messes with us or wants to talk with us. And they're just kind of like normal people.
Yeah. Good job, Reno. I know. There's that cultural aspect that I love.
And the reason why, I mean, this is not all of Truckee by any means. Like this was honestly, I think this complex in Truckee is like
low income housing complex.
Yes, it's the low income. It brings in certain characters and people of different backgrounds. Truckee in general is not like this. It was the only place that was really affordable for us to live until it started not becoming affordable, where we had to move.
And like many other people from Truckee, we moved to Reno.
Right.
And so I do want to touch on, I asked a handful of my followers just your crazy neighbor stories.
Yeah.
Okay, can you pull those up for me?
Yes.
So we're going to react in real time, because I think everybody has crazy neighbor stories. We've all dealt with them one form or another.
Okay, well, I hate this first one.
What is it? Do you want me to say it? I can say it.
Okay.
So I asked, what are your crazy neighbor stories? Got some gaybers across the way. Well, I don't think that's necessarily bad. It is Pride Month. They are out and about.
Right. And also,
I think it depends on like the type of gay neighbor you have. Like if they're just keeping to themselves, that's cool. But if they're having these luxurious gay parties directly across from me and they're like, you want to come over? I'd be uncomfortable. I wouldn't like that. If I was getting hit on by my neighbor across the hallway, that'd be weird. But if they're just being gay, that's cool. Carry on. Doesn't impact your life.
I hate that one.
What's the next one?
Okay. I once had an 80-year-old man come threaten to kill my dog if I didn't get him to quiet down. Needless to say, I almost fought Old Man River.
How would you handle that if we had an ancient neighbor and Maverick was just being loud and he was like, I'll kill your dog if you don't shut him up?
I would call the police immediately.
Yeah?
No, I really would. Like, if you're going to threaten any part of my life, like, The police is being called. Guns will be at the door. Like they're like, no. Yeah, I would almost kill Old Man River too.
Yeah, I think Old Man River, if he's threatening you or your dog, like it's not okay to beat up an old man. However, this is Reno. The future is now old
Right,
man.
but if you have like, let's just put it into like human perspective. If your kids are running around and let's just say they go on Old Man River's lawn
Mhm.
and Old Man River's like, I'm going to kill your kids if they come back over here, you would literally call the police for that.
Yeah, and probably fight Old Man River.
Yeah. Neighbors were having sex with their window wide open on Father's Day.
Sound like they were trying to be a father again. That too. That is a little disturbing. Have you ever seen that because the windows were open? You see like a naked neighbor, or maybe they're getting down a little freaky.
No,
I'm thankful that I haven't.
I have not seen that, but I tend to leave our windows open and rarely am I naked. Honestly, rarely am I naked, but sometimes
Might be
sometimes I
me.
am.
Most of the time, it's probably me.
Most
Go
of the
fix
time it's
myself a
you.
sandwich.
But sometimes I do forget.
Yeah. When we were in Truckee living on the third floor, we had like bird's eye view on everybody. And there was this lady that lived diagonally across from where our friends live now, like right next to where that crazy lady lives,
Yeah.
actually. Same apartment. And this lady loved to be naked and walk around like blinds wide open. And I would be out there on the patio hanging out. And there was for sure a time where we made eye contact and it was weird.
And then she immediately like shut her
Shuts
blinds.
them, and it makes me feel like a pervert, but I'm not even it's not like a enjoyable view. All
That's
right.
the thing about apartments though, is that it's so intimate.
Mm.
Like we're living on the first floor and I hate it. I want to be on the third floor. I hate living on the first floor. And literally like our windows look out to other people's windows.
And
You know,
probably
and
don't-
people are like walking back to their apartment and they can just see right in because whenever I walk Maverick out, I can see right in. I can see when somebody's watching Survivor.
Mhm.
And I almost spoiled it for myself because they were watching it live.
That's worse than them being naked.
Yeah. My boy's neighbor in college got mad at them and I for drinking on our own roof.
I'll translate that to normal speech. My friend's neighbor got mad at us for drinking on his roof. Have you ever drank on a roof before?
No, but I've climbed onto a roof before.
Mm. I think that neighbors getting upset at you for having a beer on the roof with your friends is ridiculous. It's trashy for sure, but I respect it. I've done it.
Well, are they are they on the top floor and you're making
Just
a
a
bucket?
normal house. Like,
No, I mean, my boy's neighbor in college got mad at them and I for drinking on our own roof.
yeah, you're on your own roof.
Yeah, I
Put a
think
ladder
yeah.
up, you scale up there, crack a few cold ones with the boys, watch the sunset.
Yeah, why is somebody else getting mad at you for being on your own property doing
Having a
whatever
great
you
time.
want to do? It's America. This is what Americans do. We
'Cause they're
drink on our own roof.
They're hating from outside the club. They can't get in.
Okay. Dude, I grew up on a farm in the poorest county in Tennessee. I have a few. And then they said, my neighbors who raised and ate bunny rabbits because they're redneck and weird shot and killed my horse who got out and walked through the woods. Horses are social herd animals and we only had him. They had cows and he wanted to be friends, so he kept getting out and going over there. One day they just decided to shoot and kill when I was like 12. Cops wouldn't do anything because it's a little town and that's just how things go. Also, some other neighbors kept putting a camper up in the street to cook meth, and apparently were really bad at it and kept blowing it up so we would take bets on how long it would take them to blow it up.
Oh my God.
I have some wild stories about Grundy County if you ever want to hear more. It's a strange place and I used to swear my parents hated me for moving us up there.
Wow. That sounds like the poorest county in Tennessee. So, in short, you've got neighbors up the street cooking meth in this trailer and constantly blowing up. And then your horse gets out. Horses are expensive, by the way, and they're like a pet. They're a family animal.
Yeah.
Like, that is an emotional loss. And your neighbor shoots your animal because it's on their property. Like, you've got to have some
Yeah.
beef with that neighbor. They don't just smoke your horse for nothing.
Well, that also happened in Truckee. Someone killed their neighbor's dog. Do you remember hearing about that?
No.
Yeah. It was in starts with a P. What's that lake? Prosser?
Mm-hmm.
they thought it was like a deer or some kind of other animal, like a
Coyote?
coyote. They thought it was a coyote and they shot it. But that dog was like, looked nothing like a coyote. It was black. And yeah, it was like a very tragic loss. But apparently that neighbor had been threatening to kill their dog. And he used it as an excuse that he
So it
thought it was a coyote.
preemptive.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fucked up.
Yeah. No, I think killing like, gosh, like what is up with these people and killing animals?
So I know that if your dog, if you're in rural counties and your dog goes on to a livestock farm and spooks the animals, the farmer is well within his rights to kill that dog.
Mm-hmm.
It's messed up. I don't agree with it, but you should control your animal.
Right.
That's understanding number one. A horse is a different scenario. I feel like a horse is just, hey, what's going on over here, guys? He's not like mowing down your fence.
Yeah.
He's not harassing your family.
Right.
He's not peeping through your windows. He's just being a horse hanging out with cows. That's a fucked up scenario. I'd be so upset. But like I think about if somebody tried to shoot Maverick, like that would be a huge altercation. Like somebody's probably
Yeah.
going to go to prison or wind up dead.
Well, having neighbors that are also cooking meth is
Pretty sweet. I expected that in Reno, to be honest. I expected meth heads.
well, we're probably just not in the neighborhood where that's happening, but I'm sure that's happening.
Oh yeah, we don't live north enough.
Yeah.
So shout out to my methy neighbors.
Wow. Well,
R.I.P. your horse.
yeah, RIP to the horse, RIP to people that have terrible neighbors.
Yeah, for real. Well, should we call it?
Yes, I think this yes.
Thinking of dead dogs and dead horses and meth
Yeah,
head neighbors.
this wasn't necessarily the way that I wanted to end the conversation, but I think that the moral of the segment is to just be a good neighbor.
Like State Farm.
Love thyself as thy neighbor. Oh, wait, no. Love thy neighbor as thyself.
I hate my neighbors, so this will be a problem.
All right. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Go enjoy the rest of your week.
And good night.